Welcome to the Upshot, Multi-World Disc Golf's podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. I am the host, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me is Josh Mansfield. It is Thursday, April 27th. Jonesboro Open is getting set to begin tomorrow, and we're going to get you ready for that today. But we got a lot to get to. We're going to take a look at our fantasy lineups and how we're doing so far this season. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Champions Cup, take a look at some of the stats from the majors over the last couple of years. And we're going to talk to Kat Mertsch in a little bit as well. And then, of course, we're going to preview Jonesboro. So lots to do on this Thursday. Thanks for being with us. Josh, how's your week going?
It's going pretty well. You can't complain too much. So,
well, I know why you can't complain. It's because your fantasy draft is looking pretty good.
You know, I really wish that these standings were a little bit closer because I'm about to gloat a lot on this show, and it's going to look bad if I end up losing eventually. So I'll try and tone it back just a touch.
So here we go. We're going to just take a quick look, and we're not going to do this all the time, but it's after the first major. Thought it was a good time to check in. Reminder, here are the teams, okay? I have Ricky, Calvin, Simon, Matty O, and Anthony Barella on the MPO side. I have Katrina, Valerie Mondahano, Evelina Sallin, and Haley King, and Holland Handley on the FPO side. Josh has Eagle, Gannon, Kevin Jones, Isaac Robinson, Nico Locastro, Chris Tatar, Ella Hansen, Owen Scoggins, Hannah Blomroos, and Macy Bella Diaz. And Dan picked Paul Macbeth, Chris Dickerson, Kyle Klein, Joel Freeman, and Corey Ellis, along with Paige, Missy, Kat Mertsch, Sarah Hokum, and Alexis Mondahano. So remember, we're scoring this in three different ways. We have wins on Elite and Majors. Mm-hmm. We have the average DGPT standing of all of the players on your team. And what was our third criteria?
We didn't have a third criteria.
Is that what we did?
Yeah, we proposed we should have a third criteria, and then we just never came up with one. As far as my emails recall, I went and looked at the emails.
Okay. So, all right. So, Josh, take us through it. Where are we in the with wins and with the averages so far?
So, hitting the wins column on the MPO side, Charlie, you've got 2 wins. Calvin and Simon both collecting a win for you. Remember, this is only Elite Series and Majors. This does not count silver events. So Charlie's got 2 wins there then on the MPO column. On the MPO column, I also have 2 wins, one for Gannon Burr, one for Isaac Robinson, and Dan collects 1 win with Kyle Klein. So given the case of a tie, we decided that we were just going to mimic the Pro Tour style where and remember, so the way this works is we rank us based on our category, and then there are 3 points to the first place, 2 points to the second place, and 1 point to third place. We're going to use Pro Tour style where we combine if there's a tie, and then you split those points evenly. So on the MPO wins...
Hang on really quick. I just want to point out 3 of the 5 Elite Series and Major wins are to the Young Gunners. Isaac, Gannon, Kyle each have 1 win. Simon and Calvin have the other 2. Crazy. Continue.
Yeah. So Charlie and I we both have 2, so we would combine our 3 and 2 points. Both of us get 2.5 points. For the MPO win side, Dan would get 1 point. Over on the FPO win side, I got to draft LeBron James in his prime. So that was a hard pick. Charlie's got 1 win with Katrina Allen. Dan's got 1 win with Paige Pierce, and I'm collecting a cool 3 thanks to Kristen Tatar.
Josh out here pretending like he did some amazing thing when he had the first overall pick in the draft and took Kristen Tatar. You're a genius, Josh.
I literally, and you're going to see this in a minute, I literally picked the rest of my team for average place finish. I don't care if any one of them collect a single win. I just played for the most consistent players possible for the rest of my team. I got to be honest,
it's a pretty smart strategy.
Well.
Okay, so...
Go ahead.
I mean, aside from you dominating in FPO wins, it's fairly close.
Yeah,
it's fairly close. Lots of golf left this season. But so Josh has 5.5 points in the wins category. I have 4. Dan has 2.5.
Yep.
Okay, so then how about over on the averages side?
Yeah. So averages side, coming in third is Charlie on MPO with a 14.8 on the MPO side. Now, this is largely due to Rick.
Absolutely ridiculous.
So
largely due to Rick. Entirely due to Rick. Rick is 48th. Just torpedoing my team, even though I have Calvin, who's in first.
Your worst finish after Rick is Matteo at 14. So it's 1, 11, 13, 14, 48. So Rick is just ruining your standings here. What's nice is that, like, as the season progresses, it's not like Rick just needs to play up to as many events as everyone else, and people start dropping, and then
if he comes back healthy, even if it's not until like the second half of the season, he's going to come all the way back up the leaderboard, and I'm going to be fine. But I'm a little worried about Ricky.
I don't blame you. So you're in third on MPO standings. Dan is in second. He is sitting at a 10 even. Really good picks for overall. I mean, Kyle Klein 3, Paul McBeth 7, Chris Dickerson 8, Joel Freeman 10. So he's got 4
really
of the 5 in the top 10, which is real nice.
But unfortunately,
Corey Ellis decided he doesn't know how to play disc golf this season.
What's going on with Corey?
Down to 31. I think he just needs some more woods golf. Like, I think Corey will probably pick up later in the season a little bit. So
gotta think so.
Yeah. So that's Dan in second, and I have first in NPO standings at 9.8, so just barely sneaking it past Dan. Gannon Burr 2, Isaac Robinson 4, Eagle McMahon 9, Kevin Jones 18, and Nico LaCastro at 24. So I collect 3 points there. And then on the FPO standings, we have Dan in third. He is at a 14.2. Paige 22, Kat Mertsch 12, and Alexis Mondahano at 24. All are outside the top 10 for him. The only 2 inside are Sarah Hokum at 5 and Missy Gannon at 8. And
he's got a lot of players who are like underperforming right now.
Yeah, he does.
That's tough.
And the problem is that his players who are performing, i.e. Sarah Hokum, I don't expect her to stay at 5.
Yeah, she's slowly sliding down the leaderboard after picking up the early silver points.
Yep. So that's not looking great for Dan over on that side. Charlie, you're in second with FPO DGPT standings at 9.8. Yours is a little interesting, actually. You only have 4 contenders. Valerie Mondahano has not played, and so we had to just completely exclude her from the rankings because, unlike Rick, she does not have any points that we can put in.
I mean, if she gets to the end of the season and literally never plays, I'm going to have to put in like the bottom of the standings, right? Right. But at this point, we decided it was premature to do that, so we just excluded her.
Yeah. So Evelina 21, Haley King 11, Holland Hanley 4, and Katrina Allen 3 gives you a 9.8.
I feel pretty good about my squad. I mean, Evelina, unfortunately, I'm about to just be like, I can't count on her to ever figure out the putting. Like it was horrific. I don't think we talked about it on the show on Tuesday, but she was first tee to green, dead last strokes gained putting, and was so much worse than the second worst player in putting. Like, honestly, I'm at the point where I'm like, Evelina, do not try to putt. If you are outside of 10 feet, lay it up, put it into the basket. You are better off. You're going to finish higher. You're going to make more money. Everything. Like, until you can like unlock the mind, you just don't 3-putt. Just always 2-putt. It's brutal. It's brutal to watch.
I saw somebody, and I don't remember who, so I can't give credit, and I can't confirm the stat, but somebody said that they went through and did the math. I think it was on Reddit, and did the math. If Evelina had laid up every putt outside of bullseye, she would be 23 strokes better on the season.
Oh my God.
So yeah, not great, unfortunately. Holland's been a nice surprise. Like,
Holland. I mean, I couldn't be happier to have Holland on my team.
Man, yeah, that's a great pick.
She's going to win one this season.
I think she's going to net you a win. Yeah, I really do. So
okay, hang on a second. I'm gonna count the Evelina 3 putts or worse. Okay, from Champions Cup.
Okay. Oh, okay. I was like, you're gonna do that for the season, huh?
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 3 putts or worse. There were multiple 4 putts.
You should just start throwing backhand at the basket. So,
assuming that you let, so, and a bunch of these are like circle 2 miss, followed by circle 1 miss. So I'm just like, okay, do not try to putt it from circle 2. She was literally 0% circle 2.
Just lay up from circle
at
2.
Champions Cup. Just put it under the basket, put it in. We're talking about picking up, let's call it 10 strokes. Okay. Not 12, but just 10. Let's just say it's 10. She's going to go from 21st to 9th. I mean, I know that that choice is guaranteeing that you will not win.
Yep.
But like, you're not winning right now, so I don't know. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Okay.
I wish for her.
Yeah, I know you do.
I was talking about this over the weekend, and it's like when she came to the U.S., she was an amazing putter. Mm-hmm. And like it's like yip sprain. I would wish this on no one, but there has to be a change. I've how many times have I said this on the show? You cannot continue to do the same thing you're doing and expect it to get better. Mm-hmm. Putt left-handed,
turbo
try
putt.
A completely new style putt. Anything besides what's happening right now. I don't understand why there's no chance. It's like the definition of insanity, right?
It literally cannot get worse.
I'm off it.
Cannot get worse.
I'm off it.
Well, it's unfortunate that you decided to be so bullish on Henna and then pick up Lena, because that let me pick up Henna in that next pick, and my FPO team looks fantastic. So I've got Kristen at 1, Owen at 2, Ella at 6, Macy at 9, and Henna at 10 for an average of 5.6. None of my FPO players are outside the top 10.
Yeah, but I mean, unfortunately for you, Henna has similar problems and is not going to be winning because of it.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. So that's it, right?
Yep, that's it. So,
and if we tally, we do a rank order for average. So Josh is at 11.5 total points so far in the year. I am at 7. Dan is at 5.5.
Yeah.
So it's going to require. I'm going to need Val Mondahana to come back and start getting it done. I'm going to need Evelina to pick it up. And we need to see some more wins from the squad out here. So, I don't know. It's going to be tough to score enough points in FPO, I think, with Kristen. It's going to bring your averages down and bring your wins up tons. So, we'll see. Going to have to get it done in MPO.
Yeah, and the likes
of Calvin and Simon to just rock and roll.
The likes of, like, Owen being at number 2 as well for me, which, unless Katrina and Paige just start playing much better, like, the two of those together keep my average so low. What's nice, here's the one thing that should be considered. These points don't go up. These are a fixed number of points available to win.
Right.
Because it's based on ranking. And so if Charlie, for example, overtakes,
there's 24 total points to have in the pot.
Right. So I have 11.5 right now, but if I lose one of them to something, that not only decreases mine by 1, but increases yours, for example, by 2. So it closes the gaps much faster than just I gained 1 point. It's pulling away from somebody else as well. So even though it looks like I'm just blowing you guys out of the water right now, I guess there's still hope for you.
There's definitely hope, Josh. I don't want to hear any of this. So that's where things stand right now. And then over in the picks competition, of course, you can go to discgolf.ultraworld.com/upshot-picks to check out picks. Make your own if you're a subscriber. We haven't updated the over-unders yet. We'll get to that soon. But in the picks department, it is dead even right now between me and Josh. We are both at 27 points. And we're doing pretty well, I got to be honest, Josh. We got about 50 people making picks right now, and we are currently in 4th place. Now, there's some listeners ahead of us. However, there are some little shenanigans going on with people picking podiums at silver events and getting points for that, and we're not going to be having any of that. So once that gets corrected, we will have a true score. But I do think we are behind currently. Hampton is in 1st place.
Yeah, we're behind by 6 points for 3rd, and I don't think they're going to lose 6 from the silver event that they got full credit for. So
But I got to give Hampton really, a couple things really working in his favor, particularly Blue Ridge picking Kristen and Gannon. So that's huge. If you get both of your picks at a silver, that's a really nice little bonus.
Yeah, that is true.
So
if you look at the breakdown, Charlie, you've got 16 and 11 FPO MPO, which is like kind of a nice balance. And I've just picked Kristen all year on the FPO side, so I have 22 points in FPO, but I only have 5 in MPO.
How many times have you picked Nico? You've had some crazy picks.
You know what? Like, what the heck? If you got the rock of Kristen Tatar, you can do what you want on the other side, right?
That's like literally your entire season strategy at this point. All right, let's bounce back over into some discussion of the Champions Cup. Now, obviously, we talked plenty about Isaac Robinson and Kristen Tatar and what they were able to do this weekend. Some other players down the board, and we talked about Nicholas Antila as well. And by the way, a little piece of news, Linus Carlson finally got his U.S. visa approved. So he will be back over here very soon, and looking forward to seeing him. Now, I don't know. I'm assuming he's not in the field for Jonesboro, but I actually want to check because maybe he's going to make it over here in time. Let's see.
He just Ubers to the first tee.
He is currently registered per the PDGA. He is on the list, so maybe he's going to get here in time for Jonesboro this week. That would be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
I'm checking his Instagram because he posted in his Insta story about this. It just says soon. So I don't know. He might drop from Jonesboro. I wouldn't count on him. But nice to have Linus coming back over. And so Nicholas Antila, back-to-back major podiums. Statmando had a cool stat over on Twitter. It was like,
this was great.
Players that outperform their rating the most at majors.
No, it's not their rating. It's compared to Elite Series. So it's their average rating at Elite Series. So it's average rating at majors minus average rating at Elite Series.
Fair enough. Not exactly the same thing, but pretty close. The best player, can you guess, Josh? Maybe I know you've seen the tweet, but don't look again. Who is first on this list? Who outperforms the most at majors compared to regular season tournaments?
Was it Nicholas? I think it was Nicholas.
Nope. Nicholas was number 2.
Number 2.
But I mean, unsurprisingly, that he's near the top of the list.
Outperforms at majors. Paul
this player
was like
did not,
3 or 4.
Paul was 4th.
Yeah.
Isaac Robinson was 3rd.
Is it James Conrad?
By the way, this time frame is over the last 2 years.
Okay.
James Conrad is on the top 10, but not at the top.
I don't know who would be then.
Nate Sexton.
Oh, of course it is.
Almost 22 rating points higher at majors compared to elite. Amazing.
Yeah. It's impressive.
That dude shows up to Worlds and is like in the mix every time.
On the flip side, I remember Simon was a notable name on that list.
Who underperforms the most relative? Yeah. Simon is 6th on the list. Other players that you of note: Adam Hammis, 3rd on the list. Andrew Marweed, Andrew Presnell. Unfortunate for those guys.
Simon's definitely the notable name on there, like in term because I mean he's still winning Elite Series regularly, and just underperforming at the majors.
Yeah, I mean it's been a little bit of a problem. I'm not gonna lie. Of course, we talked to Silas Schultz. Matt Oram has some crazy stats. He has now had 56 top 10 finishes at Elite Series or majors, and it's his 18th major top 10. He is the player with the most top 10s on tour without a win. Johnny McRae is 2nd with 38.
Oh, yeah. So what? That's 18 more?
Yes.
Jeez.
He is also the player with the 2nd most top 10s at majors without a win. Can you guess who number 1 is on the list?
He's 2nd?
He's 2nd. 18 top 10s. That's second most without a win. Who is the player with the most top tens without a win?
It's got to be Calvin.
Nope.
Is it Simon?
Nope.
I don't know who it is.
Yuli.
Huh.
Paul Ulibarri
No.
has 19 top tens at majors and no wins. And I mean, he's come so close. He's had some seconds, multiple top fives, but has not been able to close one out.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It's tough. How about this? First career top 10 at a major for Mason Ford, who's kind of quietly having a nice little season so far.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
He plays for Mint now, is that right? Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, plays for Mint.
That's right. Out of Austin.
Is he higher? Hold on, this is what we need to check. Interesting. Oh no, that's not what I want. Hold on. All right, standings. Here we go. If we're just scrolling down the list, representing the Texas brands, Mason Ford is the highest MPO standings from
Lone
the Texas
Star and
brands.
Shambles.
And Lone Star, you have to go down. It's got to be, Nico at 24 is where you find their first one. And Mint's like, we just picked up one player. It's all we needed.
Okay, Evan Scott. This was his first major start. First time.
Really?
Best debut performance at a U.S. major since the 2004 World Championships when Keith Warren took fifth.
All right. That's high accolade there.
Now, that's at a U.S. major, so that's like a little bit of a... I get why Statmando likes to talk about the U.S. major, because European Open is, or like, Australian Open, like you get kind of like funky results because the field is pretty weak, particularly in the past. So if you look at, European debuts, Lizotte, for instance, was he had his first start at the 2009 European Open where he finished fifth. So
who was ahead of him? Can you see
in
that?
2009?
Yeah.
Oh, we'd have to look it up. We can look it up. I'm gonna guess. Who do you think won that year?
Was it Paul? No, that's too. It's probably a little early for Paul.
I wonder if it was like.
Would it be like
Jesper Lundmark? Like, was that the one he won?
Maybe.
Here we go. I'm finding out right now.
What about like KJ Nibel?
I was right. Oh my gosh, I was right.
Oh, that's
Jesper Lundmark wins in 2009. Climo was in third. Dave Feldberg was in fourth.
Who was second?
Timo Persio.
Okay.
Some very low PDGA numbers, some old school European.
And then who's
player.
like
Val Jenkins won an FPO.
Who's right behind Simon?
Another European, bunch of Europeans. Nate Doss was in seventh. Avery Jenkins in ninth.
Okay, so
but there were not that many American players.
He beat some good Europeans though, so that deserves a nod. I was wondering if like it was going to be only Europeans behind Simon.
No, couple good American pros.
Good. All right. Yeah.
Definitely a nice debut for Simon.
Yeah. So
how about that? Evan Scott. I mean, promising player. We've said his name before on the show. Gannon Burr finishing in seventh, his third top 10 at a major in his last four starts. He's only played 6 majors in his career, and he's been top 10 in 3 of them. We also got Chris Clemens in seventh. That's his 4th top 10 in his last 8 starts.
Chris Clemens is nice at the majors.
Chris Clemens, you cannot count this guy out.
Yeah.
He's like the own Scoggins of MPO, where it's like, this dude is really good, like all the time. And he's just, I don't know that he's going to win it. I don't know if he's going to win one.
Look, I think your Matty O has to be the Owen Scoggins of MPO.
That's fair. And Matty O finished higher than Chris for what it's worth.
Right. He did. But you're right, though.
I feel like Matty O has a better chance to win than Chris Clemens. Like we have seen that Matteo has what it takes, except when it seems like he's in the mix in the final round, he just doesn't put it together.
I would make a bet that Owen Scoggins wins one before Matteo wins one.
How do we set that up? You want to just
know.
If neither of them wins, nobody wins.
Right.
Otherwise, you're taking Owen Scoggins and I'm taking Matteo to win first.
Uh-huh.
Silver count?
No.
Okay. Leader
Gotta
major.
be an elite. Leader
Put it in the
major.
books.
And I don't care. It doesn't have to be this season either. Like
No, this is just a standing bet.
Yeah.
And whoever if Matteo wins, you have to come on the show and deliver a dog of the decade
Okay.
speech about Matteo.
Okay.
And prepare. You have to do research. You have to come in with the facts.
Okay.
You have to give a 3 to 5 minute presentation on Matteo.
If Owen wins,
if Owen Scoggins wins, I will do the same.
Oh, I can I set the terms?
Oh, you want to have
side?
something? Oh, go ahead. Yeah, okay.
I want you to put the Denver Broncos wallpaper back on your phone.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I don't want any of that.
All right, I'll settle for this. Oh my god.
Vino Makala had his third major top 10, but this was his first time finishing in the top 10 at a major on U.S. soil. So his other two were both at the European Open. And Makala finished tied for 7th as well. Pretty cool.
Yeah. I want to hit some notable cash misses real fast.
Okay, please do.
Yeah, Albert Tom misses cash. Bradley Williams misses cash. Man, that's a 1 week to the next roller coaster. Casey White, Corey Ellis, Andrew Presnell, Drew Gibson misses cash down at 57th. Welcome back to the tour, Drew. Aaron Gossage, 57th. Thomas Gilbert, 57th. Cole Redolin, 63rd. That's another notable one. But yeah, I think those are the I mean, man, Brody
I think
Smith,
it's like
83rd.
This is just not a course for Brody.
It's not.
Like, if you come out and you're a little off, and like your drive angles are just a little off, you just get eaten alive by this course.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't see that on coverage. We're only watching the players who are piping the gap.
Right.
But there's people who are out here just slogging through this thing.
Yeah.
Hitting trees every time, kicking into the woods. I mean, it could be brutal out there if you're not lacing the gaps, which makes it fun to watch the coverage because you're just watching guys just like blasting shots straight through the gap.
Yeah.
Let's go over to FPO. Of course, plenty to say about Kristen on Tuesday, but Owen Scoggins gets her second finish on the podium at a major, 9th overall in elite and majors. I mean, Owen Scoggins, I just want to reiterate how amazing this is. She is Masters eligible. And Josh, she's throwing further than she's ever thrown.
Yeah, right. She's getting better.
She's getting better. She's getting better. Now, I mean, obviously, there was just 0% chance that anybody was going to beat Kristen this week. But Owen like could still pick it up a little bit. Like her putting was a little shaky relative to her level of sort of expectation you have from her.
Yeah.
Still finishes in second. Kat Mertsch gets her first major podium finish and third top 10. She's starting to pick it back up. Her progress is impressive. Katrina Allen is now third all time in major podiums. Passes Des Redding. They were tied, and now Katrina's ahead. She's got 20 major podiums. And it's her third podium of the season, tied with Kristen for most.
That's a nice little number.
Not bad. Haley King gets her third major podium. All have come within the last 2 years. And that's her 6th top 10 in her last 7 majors.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Haley's one to watch at the majors.
Man. There were points this weekend where she looked like the best player out there, but then there are other points where she just wasn't sharp.
I mean, yeah, that's Haley King, right? That's what you get.
That's fair. Watching her throw the disc is amazing.
It is.
And she's put on some strength, and like you can visibly see that she's like physically bigger and stronger. And I think that's going to translate for her as she starts to kind of figure out how to deal with that additional power. But there's nobody smoother at throwing the Frisbee than Haley King.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. Speaking of smooth throwers.
Who are you going to say?
Holland Hanley.
Holland
Next
Hanley.
on the list. Yeah.
Yeah. Second major top 10 finish. She just did it third place at Worlds. Had a chance to finish on the podium here and just had kind of a bad final round.
Melted.
But yeah, a little bit of a melt. I think she's still got to work on like keeping her emotional state in check. But really impressive so far this season. I mean, I think she has monstrous upside. Jessica Weiss gets her 9th major top 10, but it's her first since the 2021 U.S. Women's. So nice performance from Jessica Weiss. She was kind of quietly playing well this weekend. Sarah Hokum, 5th all-time on the list in major top 10s. It was the 29th. Here's a crazy stat. This is insane. Are you ready for this?
Probably not.
She hasn't been outside the top 10 at a major since 2009.
Wow. Okay, that's a wild stat.
That's amazing.
That's a wild stat.
You think about it, like the majors are typically on courses that are at least partially wooded.
Mm-hmm. She registered for European Open. That's where I would worry about that streak. But I mean, if she played it last year, she obviously was fine. So
I don't know if she did.
Let's take a fast look. It does
While you
not
look
look
at that,
like she played European Open. So she must not.
I don't know that she goes over to Europe usually.
Yeah. And so she is registered for European Open this year.
Nice.
I think that streak might be at risk.
Yeah, that's a big distance requirements out there.
Mm-hmm.
Hannah Blomroos, 9th major top 10 in 10 starts. Hannah is a beast. Ella Hansen gets her 2nd top 10 and is tied with Kristen, Katrina, and Holland for the most top 10s on tour this season at the elites and majors with 4.
Ella's had a nice season.
Very nice season.
And honestly, the 6 over in the back 9 kind of tanked what otherwise was looking to be a pretty good round. And all in all, like, she could have been way higher on this list. But just an awful back 9 in the final round. Shot that in the foot. But otherwise, I mean, she was looking really good.
All right, Josh, I want to do something interesting.
Okay.
Here are your MPO sponsors of players in the top 10.
Okay.
At Champions Cup. Okay. Isaac Robinson, Prodigy.
Not their A player.
Eagle, yeah. They actually only have
one
elite player.
Yeah.
Eagle McMahon, Discmania.
Yep.
Nicholas Antela, Discmania.
Yeah.
Silas Schultz, yes, Discmania.
Nice weekend for Discmania.
Matty O, Westside. Mm-hmm. Mason Ford, Mint. Aiden Scott, Prodigy. Chris Clemens, DD. Gannon Burr, Prodigy. Vinyl Makala, Prodigy. There's some omissions notably from this list of players in the top 10, Josh.
Would that be
no Innova, no Discraft in the top 10? That is insane.
MVP?
I think this is literally has never happened. There's no way this has ever happened before.
I think you've got to be right. That's
Discmania. Crazy. Well, they somehow they've like managed to pick all the players who are like really good European style course players.
Yeah. It's very on brand for them. Interesting. Wow, that's crazy.
That's crazy, right?
That's crazy. No Innova, no Discraft.
No Innova, no Discraft. I mean, it's surely I don't, it would be almost impossible to like figure this out, but I would wager that this has literally never happened.
You've got
at a major
right.
before
You've got to be right.
in the history of disc golf.
Yeah.
It's just almost an impossibility because once you get back 10 years ago, there only was Innova Discraft.
Right. Yeah.
Insane.
We should do a manufacturer's cup check-in.
Oh, we need to do that.
When we get our next break and we don't have a tournament on Thursday and we don't need a preview. That's what we should do.
So over on the FPO side, if you're interested, we've got Latitude, Kristen Tatar. Okay. We've got Innova, Owen Scoggins, Innova, Kat Mertsch.
Yep.
DGA, Katrina. We've got Innova, Haley King. Discraft, Holland. Innova, Jessica Weiss. Oh no, she's Infinite now, right? Or she's still Innova. She's also Infinite.
Is she both?
I think so.
Okay.
Sarah Hokum, MVP, and Hannah, Innova. Oh, and sorry, Ella, Discmania.
So Innova owns half the FPO on top 10.
Yep.
But you don't got Kristen Tatar.
Nope.
Does it matter?
So there you go. Pretty interesting. Yeah. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Kat Mertsch joins us right here on the Upshot.
Pound's the best of the best. It's the quality, the craftsmanship, the vision for what a bag could be. Let's start from the beginning. I didn't choose Pound, I chose Levi. I trusted Levi to make the best bag possible.
He's always trying to innovate. He wants it to be perfect. And I think he's the kind of guy that nothing's ever perfect.
I trust the product. I trust the people behind the product.
At this point, I don't think anyone's disputing that it's the best made bag.
Joining us now on the Upshot is Kat Mertsch, who's coming off of her second podium finish on tour, third place at the Champions Cup. Kat, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm well.
Good. Are you at home in Arkansas right now?
I am in Arkansas, but I'm in a Planet Fitness parking lot right now.
Tour life. How?
Yes.
Did you just go to the gym, or is like Planet Fitness a good place to stay overnight?
It's a good place to stay overnight, and I do have a gym membership, but it's mainly for showers. So
Sure.
You go take a shower and you come back out and you're just good. You know, your little home, your little parking lot warrior gang's here.
Who else is there? Are there other people there right now?
We got some of the Europeans over there. Last night, quite a few people were here, but they bailed out. But this morning, Chandler Kramer and Robert Burridge were out here, and yeah, we got a good community here. The neighborhood's good.
That's awesome. So, how was your Champions Cup? What did you think? Your second time finishing top 3 at a big event, first time at a major. It's a big accomplishment.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. I'm really proud to like mentally push through some of the errors I made. So, yeah, it was really good for me. I learned a lot.
I'm curious to get your thoughts on Kristen Tatar's play and what she was able to do this weekend, kind of from a player perspective.
Yeah. Well, Kristen has obviously put in an immense amount of work to be able to shoot the scores. Not only to mention she's just a naturally extremely talented competitor. To watch her play, really, you learn a lot to watch her play.
Yeah. What's it going to take for the rest of the field to be able to run her down on a weekend like this?
To step it up in their practice, I think. Just start practicing way more and more. Just getting better. But honestly, it's anyone's weekend. It's just who's on and who's not.
Sure. So, you've had a really nice breakout over the past 2 seasons. And I was actually looking back at some of your past history at Jonesboro, and I saw that you won this tournament in FA2 back in 2018. And it's got to be crazy for you to look at the progression you've made over the 5 years as you've kind of joined FPO, come out on tour, and now you're finishing top 3. What would you say that you have changed in your game, and that's kind of helped you progress to this point where now you're regularly finishing top 10?
Well, I had to be really honest with myself. At the beginning of last season, in the off season, I I had to be really, really honest with myself and like say, hey, you're not really scoring well. You know, you can get off the tee, but once you get off the tee, getting to the basket seemed to be a big problem. So I think I had to work with like mid-ranges and putters a lot more to be able to do the scoring I could. But also I've had to really challenge my mind to think more productively when I play. Sometimes in the past, I would let my emotions completely run me, and I can be kind of not fun when I get emotional like that. So I've had to like really channel in some of my emotions to be able to push through the round.
How have you worked on that?
I have went to therapy. I've been like touching on subjects that are tender for me outside of disc golf. I've had to get on antidepressants to try and keep it going. Because being out here, it definitely takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of mental strength too. I don't think a lot of people touch on that, but it takes a lot of mental strength to get through each and every weekend. I mean, for example, my goal is to win and be the best, and I don't win, and I'm still getting better. So it can kind of beat down on you after a while. So I think just taking care of the mental health has really helped me progress.
Yeah, that's awesome. When you look at this season coming up, where do you feel like you're best situated to maybe get your first tour win?
I think wherever I put the work in enough and really believe in myself, honestly, I think I could win at any stop. It just, how bad do I want it? You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, I have to ask you about the hat because I'm loving this, like looking like an N64 stylings here, but that's not the N64 logo. So what's going on there?
No, dude. So this is my 1036 hat. It's got Mertsch on the side, Nintendo 64 M logo, and 1036. And basically it's supposed to like highlight the round that I shot at the end of the year last year at the Oklahoma Open because it was my highest rated round. It was pretty sick. It just took a little while to get it going, but this is what's up. My sponsor, Perks and Recreation, made it for me.
Oh, nice. So are those are going to be for sale somewhere?
Yes, we're going to try and do a release this week, and hopefully we can get them up on the website, and I'll be putting a link on my socials for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, very, very cool. So you won $3,067 this weekend at Champions Cup. That's the highest cash in your career. Does that make it a little easier to, make the drive out to Arkansas, be heading to the West Coast? Like, how much does it matter when you like win a little more money in a week?
Well, I guess it depends on the individual's view on money. Money for me, it doesn't, they print money every day. I mean, I can go get money anywhere. So it doesn't really matter if I win $100 or $3,000. Doesn't matter. I'm just happy to be coming home either way.
When you play in Arkansas, do you feel like it's like you get a home field advantage kind of thing?
I don't believe in a home field advantage personally. I think there's a lot of talented competitors out here, and I just got to try and do my best, and hopefully my best is better than all them.
Sure. All right, so let's take a look at where are you in the standings right now? You are at 12th in the DGPT standings. You got three top 10s this season, but a couple of finishes, outside the top 20. When you look at your performances week to week, like what feels like when things go right, what's working well, and when things don't go as well, like what's going wrong, I guess?
I think when things are going wrong, it's mainly my timing and probably my putting, probably just my whole game, honestly. When things are going right, I'm feeling really clean off the tee. I'm feeling really strong on the putting green. My upshots are getting close within the circle.
So it's just kind of like either it feels on or it feels off across the board.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
Gotcha. So, you're registered for pretty much everything. Are you going to go to Europe this year?
I am. I'm going to Europe for Sula, the European Open, and then Island Open.
That's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. I love Europe, too. I love it over there.
Do you feel like traveling is part of the appeal of being a professional disc golfer?
I don't think a lot of people think of the traveling as much. They're probably looking, oh man, I'm going to get sponsored by Innova Dynamic and I'm going to be this big top tier touring pro and live in an RV. But when you get out here and you're driving, I don't know, 16-hour drives, you just finished dead last. It can kind of flip switch pretty quick.
Sure. Yeah, it's a grind to be like living in a van, right? I mean,
Yeah.
are there things you like about that?
Well, I live in an RV, but I did do van life last year. I think if you're going to do the van, man, you really got to make sure everything that you like to have is easy to access. You got to make sure your van's even tall enough to stand up in, because mine wasn't. I think it just depends on the person. I personally love having the RV. I love having this little box that I can go and just be in there, be cozy and safe.
Yeah, I guess I sort of, when I think about it, I don't really think of a distinction that much between van and RV, but you just have a lot more space and like an actual bedroom.
Definitely.
Yeah. I imagine that makes
Very
a big
much
difference.
so. It's like a big living room, pretty much. You can lay on your bed and watch TV, and I've got a kitchen set in there. I've got a restroom, good closet, a lot of space for all my paint and stuff, and I can carry quite a bit of stuff with me, so that makes me happy.
Okay, so you just said all your paint. Are you a regular painter?
Not really. Sometimes I like to paint, though. I like to make art for my RV.
Oh, nice. Do you have like art up on the
Yeah.
walls?
Yeah.
That's cool. So,
Thank you.
like, do you do like watercolor or what kind of painting?
I just do acrylic, just slap something on there. It kind of looks like a third grader did it, but I'm still proud of it.
We all need hobbies, even if it,
Yes.
disc golf becomes the job and not the hobby,
Yeah, for sure.
How's the transition been into 2023? You've had some life changes, which I don't necessarily know I'll specifically ask you about, but if you want to talk about it, I'd be happy to hear about them.
Well, I got my RV.
Yep.
That was pretty good. I got a dog. And that's been something. That was a very impulsive decision, but I don't regret it. Because I've been wanting a dog for a little bit, and I need something that will attack someone if I'm out playing alone and stuff, and someone tries to approach me. Just sick my dog on him. What life changes are you referring to?
Well, I mean, they're just you had a public relationship. That's all I would say.
Oh, yeah. So me and Nico, love that guy. We're back together, actually.
You are?
'Cause,
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love him, man. I don't know what to tell you. People really talk to him and just figured him out a little bit. He's not what the media portrays him as. He's just an individual trying his very best too.
Sure. What did you think of the way that
Yeah.
everything went down last year with the suspension?
It was wicked. It was kind of wicked to watch, but it's the way of the road. Things happen,
For sure. So, what kind of goals do you have set for yourself for this year?
I'd really like to get that first win, man. I'd really like to get that first win. It sits on my mind at night when I lay in bed because I know I can do it, but it just matters if I want it enough. I would like to get an ace on camera.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty good one. I think I can do it, but the winning right now is like...
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You've aced,
You're
but
fine.
not on camera?
I have aced on camera one time, but it was like in a casual round and it was my second throw.
Okay.
So it's not too impressive. It was like you could literally throw a putter to the hole and I threw like a Star Destroyer. People were calling me out and saying, that hole's like 200 feet, dude. Still made it and you still watched, so.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's what is it going to take? So you say you have to want it more. What does that mean to you? Do you go out and hit the putting green, play the practice rounds? Do you feel like everybody's trying to win? So
I think it honestly comes down to the field work and working on my sidearm. I think my sidearm like really gives me a big disadvantage because I feel like in the FPO field you have to have a good sidearm. You have to have a decent sidearm. You can't just show up with just a backhand and throw the backhand turnovers. There's some holes that require you to throw a sidearm. I really believe that. But to each their own.
Yeah. Well, do you feel like the sidearm is getting there?
Yeah, it's coming along. What's funny is when I first started playing disc golf, all I did was sidearm. And then I ripped a muscle in my rotator cuff and I lost it. So I've been working on trusting my swing and trying to find my natural feng shui of my sidearm. Cause I know it's there. I feel it. I hit it sometimes and I'm like, that's what's up. It's right there. But then other times it's just not. So it's just working with it, getting more comfortable and more in control of it.
Awesome. Well, I do want to note your other podium on tour was at Jonesboro last year. So you feel like you got a chance to go out and take it down this weekend?
Yes, I do. I always think I can win.
Have you played a practice round yet?
I did. I drove in from Georgia yesterday and I got a practice round in it. It was actually pretty decent for just hopping out of the car. My body felt like jello, but I was throwing some decent shots for having a jello body.
So are there any changes at all to the course? It doesn't appear that way much, at least on the caddy book.
Not really. No, not really. I think they cleaned up some of the fairway and the rough up a little bit, which is really good. And they may have tightened some OB lines. But other than that, the course looks great.
Awesome. So
yeah.
What, break down Jonesboro for us. What's needed to win out there?
Just throwing it in the circle and making the putt. That's
good advice. We could all use that advice. Awesome. Well, good luck out there. And great to chat with you. And it feels like this year might be the one for you to get your first win, huh?
I think so. I really think so. And if not, I carry it on to next year. I mean, I'm not going to stop until I win. And then when I win, I'm really not going to stop.
Awesome.
I'm going to try and be a professional disc golfer for as long as I can,
Very cool. Well, before I let you go, what helped you decide that you wanted to go out and go on tour?
I had no other choice. I couldn't see myself going to college because I didn't love anything enough. I could have been a veterinarian, but it wasn't my passion. I think it came down to I really had to listen to my heart on this one, and it has led me in the right decision. It's led me in the right path.
Awesome. Well, good luck. And it's a lot of fun to watch you out there. So we'll look forward to seeing you on coverage again this weekend.
Right on. Thank you.
Kat Mertsch with us here on the Upshot. Hats available soon. Where are they again?
They're going to be on the Perks and Recreation website.
There it is. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Kat.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Upshot. Jonesboro Open coming up this weekend, and it is time to take a look at this kind of classic tour staple at this point. Kind of a bummer to have it right after a major. I know it's I've always been advocating for having a little bit more cushion in the schedule. I do get it. They have to go from the far East Coast all the way across to California. Mm-hmm. You try to get a tour stop in there. There's not that many weekends in the year. So it is what it is, Josh. Jonesboro, basically no changes. The pars are the same. Distances are the same. This is the course that we have known. They just have, they've already tuned it. And it's not, maybe there's a couple small little OB changes or something like that, but nothing substantial. We kind of know what this course is all about. And it is a unique course on tour. It's got a lot of elevation change, big wide open shots, but also navigation through trees, and I'm trying to think if this is the first course on tour that's on private property so far this season. It might be.
Yeah, I can't think of another one, but that's exactly right, Charlie. Here, when you think about this course, the ability to kind of shape the fairways around disc golf, that's why I think there are so few changes. When you think about just the long term and what's been able to be done to this course in order to prep it and have it ready for disc golf and be around disc golf, this is the advantage of private property. It's also what I think of when I think of like a disc golf course that if we weren't doing golf courses, right? Because golf courses are typically much more flat. So when you think of like what could be a good open disc golf course, Jonesboro is one of the ones that comes to mind here. And I think one of the things that really benefits here at Jonesboro is a complaint that we've had a couple other events earlier in the season, is that this kind of open course, the way that the fairways are shaped and manicured are defined enough that you can really follow flight paths. I think this course is really easy to follow actually as a spectator and viewer, because it's very clear what they're trying to achieve, where landing zones are. When a player is out of position or misses short, it becomes very clear in reference to the hole, thanks to the way they've designed this course. And so I think this is a really good course, both on the player side as well as on the spectator side. It's obviously one of the big perks of having property that you can work with.
Last year, your MPO winner was Calvin Heimberg. Top 5 players: Macbeth, KJ USA, Chris Dickerson, and Gannon Burr. On the FPO side, a dominant victory, 10-stroke win by Kristen Tatar over Missy Gannon, Ella Hansen, and Kat Mertsch, Holland Handley rounding out your top 5. It's an interesting course because you'll see that a lot of players with a lot of power. You need to be able to throw far on this course, but there's also it's like a really good classic disc golf course where you have to shape lines a little bit. You have to be able to bomb it sometimes. You're going to have to hit circle 2 putts sometimes. So I think a lot of different players can have success out here. I do think you're going to tend to see this trend more towards players with power being successful compared to, finesse putter type players. But I think anybody can be successful if they have the sort of like bare minimum level of power required to compete.
Correct. I really think that once you have, as you said, that bare minimum of power, what happens then is it becomes about decision making, right? That having extra distance doesn't really advantage you too much more, but it becomes about which landing zone are you playing for, how tight do you want to play against trees, and what's your risk tolerance in being in potentially a very bad spot. Calvin and Kristen, notably, were only 2 strokes off each other in winning scores for MPO, FPO. Now, granted, Kristen's a mile ahead of the field, but that's still always encouraging to see when that's the case. I think it bodes well for the FPO side when you see that. And so just the initial gut test. And the things about Jonesboro that are nice, I mean, hole 1 is a pretty straightforward that really kind of does encourage a controlled distance shot. But then you've got like hole 6, for example, hole 5 as well, that have water carries, which you always love to see. You get really, I mean, hole 18 is woods golf, right? So it's a nice variety. Hole 16 has a water carry as well. I love the variety that this course brings in still maintaining a very park style disc golf course that I really enjoy watching. So Jonesboro's a good one. The course might be a little bit soupy. That's supposed to have pretty bad weather up until Friday. Thursday is supposed to be raining. There is a slight chance of rain on Saturday, 25%, but it looks like the thunderstorms should be done. But it may mean that there's poor footing, and we know how Paul Macbeth feels about slipping on hole 1 on this course. So hopefully he's able to control that in the conditions.
I forgot about that. Since this course has been on tour, Ricky's won it 3 times. He's not in the field this weekend as he's still continuing to deal with the wrist swelling. Calvin has won it 2 times in the last 3 years. Macbeth won it back in 2019 on the MPO side. Over on the FPO side, of course, Kristen with the big win last year. Katrina won it in 2021, and then Paige won it all 4 years from 2017 to 2020. So we'll see what happens with Paige this weekend. I honestly kind of wonder if she's going to even try to play.
I think I saw on her Instagram that she is not planning on playing this event.
There you go. I mean, I would make
but I would
sense.
I'd have to double check that before anyone quotes me.
So, keep that in mind if you're thinking about picks this weekend. Currently, Paige is still registered. Just checked. But certainly not a guarantee. Owen Scoggins is not in the field this weekend. If you're going to be making fantasy picks and whatnot, make sure you check the registration page today and see where things stand. We're recording this Wednesday morning, so
Paige is not playing.
Change.
Just double check her Instagram.
She said that on Instagram.
Yep, she said it on her Champions Cup post that she would not be playing this event.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense. I think that's the right choice. In some ways, I kind of wonder. I get wanting to play the major, but I think we could see that she was uncomfortable throwing high power shots. Krista Tatar is obviously going to be a big favorite this weekend. I am going to take her to win. Obviously in just incredible form right now. Also dominated here last year. I have Holland Handley taking second place. Absolutely love the golf we've seen from her lately, and I think it's going to fit perfectly on this course. And she was top 5 here last year. And then I have Kat Mertsch in my 3 spot. Similar, like
Podium.
Kat's bombing the disc right now. Played great at Champions Cup. Top 5 here last year. All sets up great.
I like the picks. I also have Kristen to win. Surprising, I know. But I'm going to take what I feel like is the opposite side of the coin. I'm going to take Ella Hansen for the number 2 spot instead of Holland Handley.
Okay.
Ella did finish on the podium last year, and I really like her chances. I mean, this course is the beginning of like the Ella Hansen streak. You've got Jonesboro, and then you're going to have OTB. You got Portland in a bit. Like this is where Ella Hansen thrives
back on
in
some
the tour.
Long courses with a lot of airspace.
So I'm really excited about Ella for the next couple of weeks. And then I am going to take Haley King in my 3rd spot.
Ooh, okay.
Last year she did play here. She took 10th. But last year Haley wasn't playing all that much. Didn't feel like she was really in it when she was playing. And she's got some real distance advantages here, especially like we've talked about improving that distance. I don't think it's going to be as punishing as Champions Cup, where she isn't like she's overturning the discs or pushing them too long in the fairway. I really think she's going to be in good shape here, that her distance isn't going to, and the newfound distance is just going to prove to be an advantage, not a hindrance. So I've got Haley King in my 3rd spot.
How about over on the MPO side, Josh?
MPO side, I'm going to give it to Calvin Heimberg. He's really good here. Back in 2020, won it when we restarted the tour after COVID, and then beating Paul McBeth in the playoff with a just stellar shot on hole 18 in Jonesboro last year to get in position to get to the playoff. I said that was what I thought was one of the shots of the year. Just a full power blast through the woods. It was incredible. Calvin plays well here, and I like him for my win. I've got Simon Lizotte in the 2. He has not won here, but Simon, he took 6th last year. It feels like a course that sets up for his game, though. That just even with the safer Simon that we've seen in the past couple of years, I still think this sets up really, really well, and I like Simon. And then I got Gannon Burr for number 3. Gannon,
you're going right back to the well, Josh.
I'm going right back to the well. You know what? You made fun of me for making some wacky picks in MPO and not having any points. I'm getting points this weekend, Charlie. I'm not venturing. I'm not doing anything funky here. I'm putting the 3 and I'm getting some points this week. That's what these picks are all about.
All right. Well, I've got Simon to win it this weekend. How about that? I mean, that's a little bit spicier than maybe what I could go with otherwise. Yeah, I mean, look, he was good here last year, and this again was kind of before he really got it going. Mm-hmm. He's already got it going this season. It just seems like the right kind of setup for him to be able to get his 2nd win of the year. And I'm also pulling for my boy on my fantasy team right now. I have Calvin in 3rd. I can't not put Calvin on the podium. I know he just lost his podium streak, but this is such
not a major.
It's a different course. It's such a different course. In my 2 spot, I have Ezra Aderholt.
Ooh, I like that pick a lot.
Thank you. Ezra was 2nd at LVC. I really like the way his game has looked this season. He's obviously got to be annoyed that he wasn't playing this past weekend. And we're back out in the Open. He's going to have some room to shape the shots. I think this is I would love to see him win it. That'd be amazing.
Well,
but I didn't have the stones to pick him to win.
He's 6th on Pro Tour standings without playing the major, right? That knocked him down 2 spots, but still sitting very comfortably from what has been an overall really good season. Waco bad, but get rid of Waco in good shape. So I like the pick a lot. Josh,
we need an over-under. I don't think we've set one up here.
We do need an over-under. I have 2 in mind. I will.
Okay.
I'll say the names, and I will let you pick which over-under.
All right, it's like Jeopardy.
Want. Yeah, it's like Jeopardy. Here's your categories. Category number 1 is Kristen Tatar.
Okay.
Category number 2 is Drew Gibson.
No, I want Drew Gibson.
All right. Drew Gibson did not cash this last weekend. This is the second event since LVC. He's not played hardly at all this season.
Yeah.
And so we do have Drew Gibson back on the field. How many players do we have registered right now? 112. So the cash line is around the 45 mark, if my math is right.
Okay.
I'm going to slide it. I'm going to do, let's do top over under 25 and a half.
Okay, so just a straight up, where does he finish?
Just a straight up, where does he finish? I thought about doing cash.
30th.
He finished 30th? Okay, no, we're doing it. Over under cash line. I don't know what cash line is right now because people will drop and it's going to get moved a little bit. But just straight up, if he finished 30th last year, played terrible at Champions Cup and has not been playing, over under cash. Does Drew Gibson cash?
He will cash. He will cash.
This is probably a little bullish, but man, if I'm there, I mean, I look though, I start scrolling the names and I'm like, man, disc golf has a lot of good players these days. There are lot of good players on the Pro Tour. I think you're probably right, and this is giving me giving you a free point. But you know what? I kind of feel like needling Drew a little bit here, so we're gonna put him on the cash.
So I'll take. I guess that's the over. He'll be above the cash.
Above
line.
the cash, yeah.
All right, so that's our over under for this week. So Jonesboro coverage begins tomorrow. Oh, before we go, I do want to point out there's 2 things.
Okay.
First, somebody emailed about this, and I think it's totally fair. A lot of complaints about the coverage from Disc Golf Network last weekend because of poor cell signal. There were a lot of pixelations, just times when you really couldn't even see what was happening. Just overall, like a very soft level of footage quality. It was not sharp. It tended to be a little worse during MPO when there were more fans out on the course. Josh, I'm curious for your experience watching and what you thought. This particular course is in a very poor cellular zone. A couple years ago, I was actually talking to Terry Miller about this. When Worlds was at WR Jackson, this was when Smashbox was still doing live streaming. They were basically just like, we can't do it. Like, there's not enough signal. Like, we cannot stream. So they just didn't stream. So, what are your thoughts on the quality of the broadcast and whether something needs to be done about the level of quality?
Yes, it does. I'm not a tech person, so I couldn't tell you what that solution is. But it was very, very pixelated for me. And I don't know, I wasn't watching on a computer. I was watching on my phone most of the time. But on my phone, you couldn't even see the disc half the time. So there were times when I would just pop in an earbud and stick my phone in my pocket and just listen to the coverage on the FPO side because it was so difficult to watch. So it was not great. I hope it gets improved. I don't know what that solution looks like, but if this is going to be a critical location for the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the PDGA moving forward, I think we got to find a solution for live streaming there.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like the same thing as like Northwood Black, where it's like the solution can't be we just don't stream, or that like the stream is like really poor quality.
Right.
And I will say, people who are saying stuff like, oh, well, why don't you just wire the course with fiber? And like, there are a lot of things out there that are not realistic solutions, either because of the just immense logistical challenge or because it's extremely expensive. Now, look, it was really bad at times. I mean, I was on the broadcast and I'm seeing the same thing that everybody at home is seeing. Yep. So it's like somebody's lining up a shot and then it just becomes giant 1-inch pixels on the screen. I also don't know what's going on. And look, it is what it is. Right now, this is kind of what is possible given the budgets of the sport. People who are comparing this to the Masters are delusional. They're delusional. I'm serious. The Masters has a course that has been wired with millions of dollars of cable, and they have camera stands built, and they have literally millions of dollars for the budget every single year. That is where this is not. We're not there. There are not millions of people watching these broadcasts.
We might never get there.
There's maybe 20,000. Okay, so just you have to understand what your level of expectation should be. And I think in general, it's kind of a good problem for the Pro Tour to have, that people are like used to a level of quality that has gone up so much in the last couple of years that now this feels like, wow, how could this be like this? Even though it was the same thing last year. Yeah. But it just didn't feel to be as big of a problem because there just were lower expectations. So
great point.
But that said, you have to figure something out.
Right.
And if that means finding the trouble spots and figuring out a way to run cables to them, maybe that is what you do. I mean, it's not like, it's not impossible to run some fiber. Wiring the entire course and having 18 cameras is not possible. So let's just understand what is possible and what is not possible. The tour has thought about, cellular solutions and things that could help them sort of spin up a better cellular network in the area. I mean, they're literally using the highest end cellular camera transmission product that exists. It is basically what they have is you can't get better. The only way to make it better is to get better signal. That's it. And getting better signal is a lot easier said than done. So tricky spot, but if live is going to be as big a product as it is for the tour, you have to figure out how to make this work.
Yep.
So I'm going to note that we're going to do a little Inside the Circle subscriber bonus segment for Ulti-World Disc Golf subscribers. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the technology behind the way that the transmission works right now and, why it gets pixelated and what's going on there. So if you're interested in the back-end technology side of things, join us there. You can become a subscriber for less than $4 a month at discgolf.ultiworld.com/subscribe. All right, enjoy Jonesboro, everybody. And Josh and I will be back with you next week right here on The Upshot.